Hey, and welcome back to Talk of Better Worlds. This is episode number 26. And yeah, I'm SirFelixTheCat. With me as always, I have Hawk. How are you doing?
Good. How about you?
Not bad, even though there's a dog up above me that's just running around and being super annoying. That's just life. But yeah, so what have you been playing?
Oh, shit, excuse me. I've been playing. I was trying to play a bit of The Witcher, but that since they did the next gen update on The Witcher 3, it just ruined it. So I just downloaded God of War and the first of the newer ones from 2022, and I'm gonna play that on PC. But what about you?
Nice. I never got into the God of Wars. I like the old ones. Newer one just didn't visually, like the gameplay style just doesn't interest me. I don't know why.
Yeah, this is my fourth time trying, so we'll see how far I get.
I have been playing one game and one game only, and that is Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, and that is gold. That game is absolutely gorgeous to look at. The gameplay is solid. I still love the fact that there's voice acting, even though it's not constant. It's just whenever you have like actual story stuff going on, you get voice acting. It's well done. It's not like they just like kind of phoned it in. So far, everything I've heard sounds like legit, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, from what you've told me, it sounds really good. It's still not my thing. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get into those games, but I can definitely appreciate them.
Yeah, I would say maybe try a more modern thing like Octopath, because I think you got that one.
I have Octopath
a long time ago. Yeah,
I own it. I do intend on trying it.
That one's good. And it's by the same team.
Yeah, that's dope.
But yeah, let's do some news. So this first story I'm kind of mixed on. I have very mixed feelings on it for a certain reason, and Google even points out those reasons. So the DOJ says Google must sell Chrome to end the monopoly because they have a monopoly on search engines because everybody else decides they don't want to make a good search engine and it's trash. Like Bing. I hate Bing, especially when I'm using it for work. It gets me the most inaccurate information you could possibly imagine.
Yeah,
I stopped using Yahoo years ago because it just went straight downhill quickly.
Yep.
I don't use any other ones. But the reason I don't want them to have to sell that, because I don't think it's a real monopoly, especially since the company pushing it goes by the name of Apple. And that's their own fault in my opinion, they're trash. Like, they just don't make great things. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. I'm anti-Apple because, yeah, I've just never seen anything good come out of them.
I'm not sorry.
Safari, I've hated Safari since day one. I think that was before the iPhone. I think that was just on the
Macs,
the computers. Yeah.
Yep.
It's always been trash. And then I liked the funny Apple Maps thing when it first launched, and it was telling people like turn off the bridge. And then people started saying, "Oh no, it's actually Google Maps doing that." It's like no, the proof's out there.
Yeah, no.
But yeah. So basically, Google is upset that they're going to be told to sell that, and one of the reasons why is because it's going to affect other things they do. One of those things is Google Maps, which is something I use constantly.
Yeah.
They say it down here. The DOJ's wildly overboard proposal goes miles beyond the court's decision. It would break a range of Google products, even beyond search, that people love and find helpful in their everyday lives, insinuating the apps that like we do use. It's going to break our Google Maps. It's going to break. I don't know if you use the AI. I want to place a reservation somewhere and you have Google do it for you.
No, I've never used that.
Yeah, it's going to affect that. It's going to affect a lot of things, and that's very upsetting. It also will kind of hurt their. I have call screening on mine, so I don't get a lot of just spam calls. Luckily, during the election period, like the election cycle, I wasn't getting any of those stupid calls because my phone was just like, nope, that's scam.
Yeah, you're lucky you.
Yeah, and that's thanks to them having the Google Chrome's ability to work with Android to make that possible.
Yeah.
So it already knows because it's been taking this information from other people like, oh, yeah, this is a scam call. It's spam. We don't want it. And that's going to be going away.
Well, So I think this is stupid from every angle, but like it's stupid if they do that and then it breaks everything. That's stupid. But like even if they sell this, they still have a monopoly on multiple sectors. Like I mean, and it's funny to me that like the DOJ wants to target one giga monopoly when almost everything is monopolized at this point. Like every facet of business is controlled by like 2 or 3 companies at this point. So why are we just targeting Google when we should be targeting 100 other companies for 100 different sectors that each own the entirety of the sector that they work in?
Yeah, it's like we can also talk about something that's going to be coming up soon if someone gets their way and actually gets put into their position, and the guy goes by what is it? Musk. So he owns this rocket company that he's very proud of, and he's going to this position where he's going to be able to make some decisions to get rid of and like cut back funding for some places. And the first one he's going to tackle, and he made it clear, is NASA, because why have 2 companies that get government contracts when it could just be mine?
Dude, I just want to do a quick PSA here, okay? Muck does not come up with the stuff that his companies do. I am so sick of people like saying like, oh yeah, he's a smart guy. No, have you listened to him talk, dude? Yeah. He's dumb as hell. He's so stupid. He cannot come up with an original idea. That's why he buys all these companies to do stuff. And the other part is too, he didn't even found Tesla. It was 2 other guys that founded the company, and then he came in and bought it. He had nothing to do with the foundation of PayPal. It was someone else whose work that he stole. I mean, you could go on and on and on and on and on. Like this dude has done nothing in his life, but jump on the heads of better people to make more money. So that's
Wasn't that what Mario does?
Yeah, I guess he's a business Mario, except nowhere near as charismatic.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. That's sad. I like my Google Maps. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's an unsurprising thing, and it even says here, Mortal Kombat 2 gets an unsurprising rating, which is rated R, as it should be. Because I know there was the fear that they're going to want, like, especially with WB being behind everything, and they're the best at making just the worst decisions.
Yeah.
They're going to be given it a R rating instead of trying to shoot for PG-13, which I thought they might try to do, which
God
would have been terrible. But sounds that decision screams Warner Brothers.
Yep.
But yeah, so thankfully we're going to see another. I mean, the first movie was great for its action, and like the acting was good. I'll give them that. Story was a little weird, but we're going to see another good gory fight movie.
Good,
which is all I wanted.
Well, yeah. I mean, dude, when you go into Mortal Kombat, like, I don't expect a good story. I just want to see people punch through each other's heads. Like, that's literally all I want to see in gory detail. So, like, the story for the first movie was okay. It was a little weird. I don't like how they did this new guy as our like point of view character. I love the actor. I forget his name. But I really like that actor. But it's like, why didn't you just do like what's his name? Johnny Cage.
Yeah, Ludi Lin. There we go. Ludi Lin.
Yeah, Ludi Lin is cool. I like the stuff he's in. He was good in this movie, but why didn't you make him Johnny Cage? Like, that would have made so much more sense.
Oh, Carl Urban's going to be Johnny Cage.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I take that back. I take that back.
It's going to be pretty immense. Everything is going to be bigger. Lin also spoke highly of his incoming co-star, Carl Urban, who will portray Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 2. That is dope. Man.
That's a strange choice for Johnny Cage, but dude, if Carl Urban is in something, I love it. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be savage.
Yeah.
All right. More movie news. So James Gunn did a very good decision. I'm very happy about this. He confirmed basically what we were all hoping for, that we're not going to see these stupid like introduction movies to these characters. Now that he's rebooting the DCEU, we're not going to get like this is the origin story of Batman. This is the origin story of Superman, because we've been there. We've done that. Let's stop doing it again. Like Spider-Man, we've seen it too many times. I hope that if they do reboot the character again, they just move straight on with life.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to see him get bit by a spider. That's trash.
For like the 12th time.
Yeah, he says it perfectly down here in a tweet. Someone asks him, James, why are you overlooking the origin stories? Those make us connect with the characters well at emotional level. And your choice of so niche characters to headline their own movies like Sergeant Rock or Swamp Thing makes it look like you're trying to make the DCU for hardcore comic book readers and not for general audiences. And so he comes back. I'm not telling Batman and Superman's origin stories again because everyone knows them. And don't put Swamp Thing in the corner. That's a project in development we've actually announced. And he's incredibly a well-known character with not only some of the greatest comics of all time, but a successful film series and its own TV show. Something that could be said of only a very small handful of DC characters, which is true. He did have a good TV show and it got canceled for some godforsaken reason.
Here's the thing that idiot doesn't seem to realize. If you have a good writing team, you can make a story that picks up in the middle of Batman's life, or even at the end. Let's say you got old, grizzled, pissed off Batman. Okay. You can make a story that picks up there. You already know his origin. The premise is pretty damn simple at this point. I think everybody knows who Batman is. I think you can go to the somewhere in Uganda and find people who know who Batman is. Okay. Yeah. You've got a pretty simple premise. If the story writing is good, you could have a self-contained, awesome story that's elevated by the fact that there is the history there that you already know. We're not wasting an hour and a half establishing the character that we already know. You could go through more development within that time frame than you could with an origin story. So I think it's a great idea.
Yep. I'm very happy about that. That's the one thing I was kind of worried about with this new Superman movie, that he was basically going to do an origin story since it is a younger actor playing the role. Yeah. I was like, oh, he's going to start it off and it's going to go back to him like in high school or something like that. But thankfully he's not doing all that nonsense, not telling the origin story of it.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yep. Now on to video games. So this is just a rumor. It's not officially announced yet, but Sony is set to take on Nintendo with new portable PlayStation. We're going to get a new PSP, Vita, whatever you want to call it.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, they're saying it's years away. So, I mean, it'll probably be like 28, maybe 2028.
Probably, at least.
Yeah. And it's mainly because Microsoft has been saying, oh, yeah, we're working on our own, which I want people to keep their expectations in line for that. It's most likely, even though Phil Spencer said he does think that physical games are important, like native gaming is important. This is most likely going to be a Game Pass streaming system.
100%.
Yeah. That's 100%. What it doesn't matter what he thinks is good, because the company wants to move a different direction. We've seen that every time he's opened his mouth. It doesn't matter what he says. Yeah. The company controls him. He may be at the top of it, but there's another company above them that makes the decisions.
Well, let's not forget, what is Microsoft?
Yeah.
A software company. That's what Microsoft is.
Yep. And now that we have the PlayStation Portal was finally upgraded to where it can basically be exactly that. Now it can be a streaming system for your PlayStation Plus Premium or whatever they call it, the top tier,
whatever the hell.
And it's not even like all the games; it's just select few right now. They're still working on it because they launched it before it was fully ready, which is a PlayStation thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I can tell you what system's going to be better. It's the Switch 2, whatever they call it, because it's going to be what it needs to be and not try to be something else and then be like thrown off to the side a year or two later, which is what Sony does with their handhelds.
Yep.
I mean, look at the PSVR 2. You hear all those new games coming out for it. Oh, that's right. They gave up on it like a month after launch.
Yeah, they decided to make it accessible for PC players, which is a dumb choice because nobody's going to buy it. So
Yeah. I mean, they missed out on the chance to get that Batman VR game, which is apparently really good. It looks fun. It looks like something I would want to like actually get VR for, but it's a MetaQuest 3 or whatever they call it, MetaQuest newest one only game. You guys just completely blew it. You could have had a dope title that would have made people probably be like, oh, maybe I do want the PSVR 2. Nope.
Yeah, the best place for VR at this point is PC, hands down. It's the best. Like I used to be, I waited for years. I was like, you know what? VR is going to suck for like 10 years. And now we're at the point where it's finally worth getting a VR headset, but only if you have a PC.
Yep. Now on to some interesting news and sad news. So Hasbro plundered its Power Rangers vaults for just $3.3 million. Selling all the like memorabilia, like the old costumes worn on the show, figures.
Wow.
And all that for just $3.3 million.
Dude, don't you wish you had a couple million sitting around? You could have.
Oh, dude, I would have bought the whole thing.
Yeah, I know you would have.
I would have been in a huge bidding war. Like, okay, here, you know what? Screw it. 7,000. Or sorry, not 7,000. 7 million.
7 million. I will give you $1 billion.
I'd be wearing a different Power Rangers outfit every day.
We'd have a different article like some random guy came out of the woodworks to pay $1 billion for Power Rangers costumes.
It would be so awesome.
It would be cool,
especially with this guy right there, the space Megazord.
Oh, that thing's dope. Yeah.
Yep. And then since we're talking about Hasbro, let's stay on Hasbro. So Hasbro decided to come out and say like, hey, moving forward, we're going to stop co-financing movie projects.
Oh,
which that affects Transformers. It affects the Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons stuff that's coming out. Cause I think they were doing a TV show or something. They were doing something for Magic. I can't remember what it was. And we had that D&D movie that came out, 2 years ago? Last year?
2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember. It was weird. But yeah, this also affects the franchise we just talked about, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
A franchise that right now is like shopping for a place to actually like stream the next season because we didn't get one this year, and Netflix is as reliable as they always are and dropped it because that's Netflix. But it's like Transformers 1 just came out and apparently it flopped. I didn't know how it was going to be. That's the one where Hemsworth is voicing Megatron.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, it was one I was going to watch, but apparently it just flopped.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the audience that they want is there anymore. I just don't think it's like there's still an audience. I mean, at this point in today's age, there's an audience for everything. But I just don't think the numbers that they want for these things are quite there at this point.
Well, they did burn us with Transformers. There were 2 decent movies. Like the first one was good. Second one was decent. They should have got rid of Megan Fox with the first one. She shouldn't have been in it. She brought it down, and that's because her acting was just horrendous. But like then the third movie, I think it was just trash. Just absolute hot trash. And they came back, and the next one was decent. And they've done like the Bumblebee movie. They did the Jurassic one, or Beast Wars, whatever it is. That just wasn't like the same as the cartoon, which if it had been like the cartoon, I would have been 100% all over that. But nope, can't have that. They go the wrong direction with these. And it's like, why don't you work with fans of these projects who will make a thing for fans?
Well, because that would require respecting the IP.
Yeah.
Which to them, it's just a fat cow they pull the udders on every couple of years. That's all it is. But for the fans, it actually means something.
Yeah, I'm sad to see that happen because that means we're going to probably get less movies on things that I want to see. And we're going to continue to get bad movies.
That's a given either way.
Yeah, that's inevitable. Oh, and since we have David here. Wasn't that a good game yesterday? Oh man, that game was sad. You guys were down like so many people. Just being down your quarterback, that was enough to be like, oh, this game's over. Game's over before it started. Is he going to be back soon? Let me know. But yeah, that was news. And today we were going to talk about main characters, who we think are the best main characters, not just because they're in the coolest game or like the coolest movie, but they leave an impact on you. Like they're good people overall. Because I mean, you could have the Punisher. He's a great character, but I wouldn't say he's a great main character. I mean, even in the Marvel universe, he's not a main character, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Captain America would be a main character because that totally makes sense.
Yeah, I think like Captain America, Tony Stark, Thor, you could argue, but Thor a little less so.
Yeah.
Really, it's Captain America and Tony Stark. Those are like the main characters.
Yeah.
And well, Spider-Man too, probably.
Yeah, he's the most liked character.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hell, even I like him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've put him in leadership roles, and it works. But also, when he does those roles, he kind of like reflects back on the leaders, which would be Tony Stark and Captain America.
Yeah, they are really the main characters.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so we talked about some of this before we got on here. Let me go ahead and start with mine. Let me get this other one off here. Present, share, window. Oh, where is it? Nope, that's not it. That's it. All right. So when I thought up the theme of this episode, I had just I was right near the end of beating Yakuza Kiwami, and that made me realize that Kazuma Kiryu is, like, in my eyes, the definitive best main character because of attitude and who he is as a person. I mean, I don't want to really spoil the game, but the setup to the game is you and your like best friend at the time are both interested in this one girl, and you're both part of the Yakuza. And Kiryu, being a stand-up guy, like, he finds out that one of the Yakuza bosses is basically going to grape this girl. And so you and the dude just run over there, but he got a head start on you. Like, he took off first because you found out you were doing some job and found out a little bit later. And when you finally get over to the boss's mansion, there's your homie standing over the dead body of the guy holding a gun because he just shot the guy. And the cops are on the way. So Kiryu just says, like, take her, get her somewhere safe, and go relax. Like, I got this. And he just takes the fall and goes to prison, even though he didn't do it. And he knew he was putting like his whole just career as a Yakuza at stake for this. He went ahead and took the fall for his buddy, which, yeah, he's a good friend. Like, that's a big choice to make. Like, taking the fall for murder.
Yeah.
But,
that's pretty big.
yeah. As you play this game, you find out who Kiryu is as a person. Like, throughout the whole series, you find out more and more who he is as a person and how he's just a very admirable guy. He ends up adopting the daughter of someone. It's not his kid, but he goes ahead and like adopts her, treats her as his own, takes care of her the whole first game.
Yep.
Like, he's just overall like a good guy. And that's something that I think is very important for a main character. They shouldn't be scummy. And even though he's a Yakuza, and obviously that means he's like out there killing people, he doesn't want to kill. He doesn't even want to fight half the time. He does it because he doesn't want other people to get hurt. Like, when you're running around the game and you're fighting all these people who are starting stuff, most of the time you're walking up to people who are being bullied. And you're stepping in there and being like, hey, you guys got to stop this. And then they turn on you like, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? And then you end up knocking them out. And you basically get them to apologize and to like change their ways, which is admirable. It's a Captain America style.
Yeah, I mean he's the bad guy with a good moral compass, effectively.
Yeah,
like
yeah, and he ends up throwing the whole Yakuza lifestyle away. Like that's why it's weird that it used to be called Yakuza for the whole series, because he steps away from it.
Well, see, I think the title still fits because even though he steps away from it, like I played a couple of the games, beaten one of the games. Like I know a lot of the story through most of the later games. Like I'm sure you've picked up stuff too.
Yeah.
Like I think it still fits as a name for the series, even though he steps away, because despite stepping away, it never really leaves him. Like it's something that follows him for the rest of his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's how he was brought up. It's who he was brought up to be, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. And you see over and over again through the whole series how like his morality is challenged often. It's a key point to the writing of this whole series, and how he overcomes these obstacles with a higher moral ground. Like he's a good guy who has to get into some really bad stuff because of the lifestyle that he has, the life he was raised within.
Yep. Yeah, he's a beautiful character. He is, because I played the game the first time on the PS4, got basically right to the end. I didn't realize I was at the very end of the game. Yeah. But yeah, once I played through it on the Switch, I just started paying more attention to how he is, how he acts, how he interacts with everybody. And he is fantastic. I understand why the studio loves him so much.
Yep. He's a gold mine.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So what about you?
So in the same vein, I've got, let me see if I can present here. I'm just going to pull up a picture. Hold on, present, share screen. Entire screen is gonna get a little, trippy here for a second. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Can now.
Okay, so I got Talk. I forget his whole name.
Yeah.
It's Talk it's in a spin-off series from the Yakuza games. Talk from Judgment and Lost Judgment, I believe it is.
Yep.
He starts off as a lawyer, and he winds up basically having to throw that life away because of, it seems he loses a case and people think that it was his fault for a murderer getting out effectively. But it turns out that this kid, well, I don't want to spoil it, but people were wrong. Stuff happens, and he is a private investigator. He becomes a PI after ditching the lawyer gig because he was kicked out in shame, effectively. This picture is him holding his little lawyer badge. I don't know if other countries do this, but Japan, apparently, lawyers have a little badge thing that they wear on their suit, and that's it. And it's like a big thing. I assume if you're wearing this and you're not a lawyer, it's probably highly illegal. It's almost like a badge of office, but he carries that with him to show people sometimes, like, he beats up a bad guy and they're like, oh, I'm going to get a lawyer involved. He's like, well, I am a lawyer. Haha. But he's another good guy who has to do some bad things and is involved with really bad people. And his ultimate thing isn't so much like high morality. It's more so the truth and justice. So I guess it's kind of like a Captain America thing, but he's just a little bit dirtier, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But truth and justice are his two big things, being a lawyer, and he really believes in upholding the law and finding the truth of everything. And you go through the game as doing PI stuff, and you have side quests and investigate different cases with really messed up people. Some of it's like funny in a way, some of it's really dark. And he is challenged with facing things that I think a lot of people would wind up breaking under, but he doesn't. And he sticks true to his morality, sticks to his ideals through some terrible stuff. And I think he's a great character.
Yep. Absolutely. They have a lot of good characters. That studio is just great with that. Making someone who's just absolutely unique. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And another thing with Talk is that he's forgiving. Like, his best friend is a ex-Yakuza member
Mhm.
who, like, I mean, they easily could have been on two sides of a battle line, you know what I mean? But they wind up working together as very close friends and partners because they both have this ideal of justice. Justice is their main thing. It's just this former Yakuza guy, his idea of justice involves cracking some skulls, and Talk's idea of justice involves investigating everything and cracking skulls in defense.
Yeah, because you can't forget that he's a great fighter.
Oh,
But
yeah.
since we're on the topic of what makes a character a great main character, let's pull up examples of a bad one and a great one. Superman is probably like him, and Superman is like kind of like the Captain America, Iron Man. Batman is a cool main character. I'll give him that. But probably the like banner character for DC would be Superman. And that's not a good character.
No.
Like, even when you go back and look at like the old TV show Smallville, he wasn't a good main character.
No.
I mean, he's kind of cool to watch sometimes when he fights something going like super fast and into space and whatnot. Like it's dumb fun is how I look at Superman.
Yeah. So the way I interpret it is Superman is not quite a character. He's an ideal. And that's where there's a split there. Superman is an ideal. He's like Jesus, effectively. He's this unobtainable thing that you should aspire to be. He's almost a religious figure. I mean, like, I forget who said it, but someone said that like in 2,000 years, if they find a DC comic book and it's a Superman comic book, they're going to think that we worship this guy. like we
absolutely.
Look back at people, like, it's just, he's that kind of character, but he's not a good character because, one, he can't struggle. I mean, they try to write like emotional struggle and stuff with like his love life, or maybe there's a boss, like a boss fight, like it's a game. There's some big bad guy that challenges him. I played too many games. There's a big bad guy that challenges him a little bit or something. But like in the end, he can't lose. He can't lose. And even when he loses, he comes back. And there's nothing permanent about any loss of his. That's not good writing. That's not a good character.
Yeah, like the weakest point that DC Comics ever had was they hit their high with Death of Superman. He died.
Yep.
And then they decided, okay, now let's bring him back.
If they left it there, this would be a different conversation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be fantastic because he then did the hero sacrifice. Instead, he can never do the hero sacrifice. They will never let him.
Yeah. And the whole thing of, I think it was the guy who invented him. I forget who said it. It was one of the big comic book people who said this in real life. They said that someone asked them how strong or how powerful is Superman? And he replied with, and I quote, as strong as he needs to be, period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's not good. That's a character that inherently cannot face real struggle. A character that cannot fail, a character that cannot die. And he never changes. He never evolves. He is always Superman. He's always this ideal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, sadly, they did the same thing with Goku. Like, Goku did have his arc completely set up to where he was done. And his son was going to be the one who took over. And he actually pushed on his son to take over, helped his son take over. Then they brought him back again. And he's been the main character again ever since. And it's like, you just like shunned Gohan, who is one of the coolest characters out there, because he didn't want to fight. He doesn't want to. He wants to sit back and learn. He wants to get smarter and teach other people and have fun. But he's forced into the situation and he comes through for his team because he doesn't want anybody else to get hurt. That's a beautiful character.
Yeah.
Instead, we're just stuck with crazy man wants to fight. That's all he wants to do. Just fight. Just he's funny because he's dumb, but he wants to fight.
Yeah, like Goku's stupid powerful. He's cool. Just like Superman can be cool. I mean, I don't like him really, but like he can be cool. I mean, Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman.
Exactly. Like, well, he was also cool in the other one. In what was it? Wasn't Return of, what maybe it was Return of Superman, the one where he basically, you find out that he dipped planet Earth because he found out Lois Lane was pregnant and he just took off and then came back later. He's like, I have a son. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these characters can be cool and they're beyond powerful. Nothing can beat them. Nothing can beat Superman. Nothing can beat Goku. But Goku, just like Superman, is also an ideal. He's not really a great character. If that
he's a trash character. He's a bad father. He's a bad husband. And again, all he wants to do is fight. He does like, you know how to fight? Let's fight. Let's see who's better.
Yeah.
Like he would be a terrible person to be around.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of these people would be terrible people to be like. A lot of main characters, if you really think about it, would be pretty insufferable.
Yeah, well, I mean, the two that we first went over, Talk would be okay because he's got your back. And Kiryu, you're probably going to get in some trouble if you're around him ever, but he's got your back. You're going to make it out okay.
He's got your back, but he's kind of abrasive. Like Kiryu is kind of like I feel like he would be good in small doses if he was a real person.
Well, the kids seem to like him.
Well, yeah, yeah.
The arcade kids loved him. The kids that were doing the RC cars, they loved him.
Yeah.
They wish that he would be there more often. It was always great.
Yeah. I love the side games in the Yakuza games, dude. They're so good.
Yep. Yeah, if you compare Superman to Captain America, there's just no comparison. Like, yeah, Superman's going to kill him in like one look. Like,
Yeah.
That fight's not going to happen. It would be over way too quick. But we have a character here. Like, especially what they did in the movies. Like, the first movie and the second movie, they showed like actual character development inside of him. And that was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, Captain America, like he can struggle. He, from a writing perspective, like he's not unbeatable. He's not, quote, as strong as he needs to be. And morally speaking, he can evolve. He makes mistakes. I think they should have gone way more realistic with the movies and basically taken this guy who grew up in 1930s New York, okay, and was thrown into modern days. And there should have been a serious culture shock with this dude when he woke up. Yeah. And I would have liked to have explored the character from that aspect to see how he could grow as a person from being probably a racist asshole to learning how to grow with the times effectively. Because he is a guy.
I don't think they ever touched racism with that. And that was like a thing they could have done easily. Because when he meets Falcon, even in the comics, just accepts him right away. He accepts Black Panther right away. And it's like, at that time, sadly, he probably would have had other views.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it would have been a good example to show that he is a good person by getting over that stuff, by advancing.
Yep. Yeah, I was stuck looking down here. It's like Black Panther played by a white guy. I was like, oh, this must be for an animated one, because that's definitely not who played Black Panther.
Oops.
Yep. Yeah, Superman's trash. Anyways,
moving on.
Moving on. That's our constant view on this channel is MCU is played out and Superman's trash.
Superman is god awful, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean there's other characters who they have decent story arcs, but I still wouldn't consider them like main characters. Daredevil I love the character. He's great. I'm not going to consider him a main character. You have people who have like real life issues. Like he did have real life issues with the fact that he got blinded. It enhances other senses, which just goes wild. But you also have what was her name before she became Captain Marvel?
Yep.
I can't think of her old character name. I'm drawing a blank on it, but it was still Carol Danvers. It was her first superhero role. And it goes dark. Like it's wild. She was like a light Superman in a way, like a much weaker version of Superman. But yeah, she ends up getting involved with one of the I'm just drawing a blank on everything now. This is killing me. There was that all-star cast movie that flopped, and it had Angelina Jolie, it had Jon Snow, the Eternals. There we go.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The Eternals, who this Eternal, I believe, was played by one of the pop stars that was in the movie. But he ends up raping her.
Oh.
All this stuff, and okay, so this whole comic arc goes wild. So she ends up having a kid because of this. Like, she gets pregnant and everything, has the kid. The kid ends up growing up and is also evil in a way, and ends up also raping her.
Oh,
yeah, it's wild. Like, Marvel was, whew, they were they did not pull back in the day.
I don't think it's necessary to include that kind of shit. Like, okay, like that level of stuff can work in a story. It can.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it just feels like some kind of weird, twisted fantasy of the author.
Yep. Yeah, and like, she had other issues. Like, she had some weird thing where she kept like blacking out. Essentially, it was a very wild time. This was also around the same time that they were doing Tony Stark's alcoholism, which was a good story arc where they addressed the fact that he's an alcoholic, and heroes try to have like a what do you call that when you confront someone about it in a kind way?
Intervention.
Yeah, intervention. There we go.
Yeah.
They try to have one of those with him, and it doesn't go too well, and it ends up working in the end. And yeah, they hit some wild things back in the day. Wild.
Yeah, I think they wouldn't have touched that at all in the movies, dude.
Yeah. Yep. But there's also characters that I like, other ones that I like. The main character from My Hero Academia. Deku is very interesting to watch. Like, there's aspects of him that are just admirable. But then also, he's kind of very self-centered in a way. It's hard to explain this one. So he is kind of like selfless, because he's down to try to help someone even before he had powers. Like, he would throw himself in that position where he's probably going to die because he's going up against like a superhero essentially, or a super villain without any powers. But he only wants the powers so he could be cool and be basically admired.
Oh,
yeah. So it's like he's partially admirable, and then the other side is just like, well, you're also trash. And it was like when you start up Dragon Quest 3, they ask you a little questionnaire, and then you have to do like this little dungeon essentially.
Yeah.
And if you chose what I did, apparently, and the decision I did in the cave, they look at you and they're like, oh, so you're a narcissist. Yeah, so I'm a narcissist. And I was like, really? Because I didn't think about myself at all in those questions. So that's interesting.
Take this test. Oh, you're a shit person.
Yeah, and it was all because at the end in the cave, I totally didn't read a sign. I walked right past it because I was not paying attention too much. And I went right instead of going left. And apparently if you read the sign, the sign tells you do not go to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I went to the right, fell down a hole, and she was like, oh, well, you're a narcissist. You don't like to listen to others. No matter what others say, you're always right. And it's like, okay.
Strange conclusion to jump to for not paying attention to a sign.
Yeah. But yeah, he's kind of like that. I mean, he cares about his teammates, but he got into it for, I think, the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And I believe All Might also kind of says that about him early on, too, when he starts to train him. Which All Might is the Captain America type character from the anime.
Okay.
The one who gives him his powers. And I mean, even with the good writing they have in the anime, I don't think it redeems him much.
So he's always just kind of like in it for himself. That kind of like you said, he cares about his friends, but he's always kind of in it for himself.
It's an issue I have with anime in general. you might have a character like Gohan is one of the few that hasn't changed yet. Like he's been Gohan the whole time. He's been the same lovable kid who is down to protect others and really doesn't want to have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them end up going into like, you can like them at first, but then they just go straight south and they're just not likable characters. Like Goku, I think he's cool, but I also understand he's a trash person. He's just absolute trash. I would never want to hang out with him. Like he would not come over for the family barbecue.
Like I'm not too well versed in a lot of Japanese stuff, but like from what I've seen, the main character kind of being an asshole does seem to be a pretty common trope.
Yeah. And like they can be an asshole that cares about others, but they're trash. Like they're a trash person in the end.
Yeah.
Like from Fairy Tail, you have Natsu. I love Natsu. He's dumb, he's funny, and he cares about others. But he's also got that same Goku thing of like, oh, we're going to fight. I want to fight. I want to fight. I want to fight. And it's like, calm down. You're picking fights with people just because you want to fight. And that's not how you need to be. It's funny that you do it. I mean, the anime would probably be a lot different if him and Gray didn't fight all the time.
Yeah.
But you can't admire the character in the same way. It's not someone you would want to look up to. They're not a role model in any way.
Yeah.
I mean, God, if your role model is Natsu, you got some issues.
Well,
some serious issues.
I'm sure some people are out there.
Yeah. But I just thought of another one who is a genuine good guy. Give me just 1 second. I forget his name. I know his last name. Characters. Oh, dude, just give me the character. Claude C. Kenny from Star Ocean 2. He is, I mean, he's a little dumb at first because he doesn't want to listen to the advice of his dad, who is like a seasoned adventurer. He is one of the main characters, at least story-wise, in the first Star Ocean game.
Mm.
And so he's been through some stuff. Like he's been through some world-ending events that could possibly take over the rest of the universe.
Okay.
And his son ends up joining like the Star Trek team, because that's how I've explained this game to you before. It's basically anime Star Trek.
Yeah.
And he's told by his dad, don't go near this stuff. And so of course he's like, oh, well, I want to check it out, and gets sucked into another dimension or another space, like location in space.
Okay.
And from that point on, he's kind of like, oh, I screwed up, and he understands his mistake, like just instantly understands his mistake. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, he's a good character. He does genuinely care about these people he meets, even though he does it partially because he falls in love with the first person he meets there. He's just like, oh, you're hot. You're some hot alien chick. And well,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really agree with him because she looks like she's like 12 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's like 17 or something like that. It's a bit of an age difference.
It's one of those. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a Japanese thing.
Yeah. Oh, she's 3,000 years old. She's a 3,000-year-old dragon.
Happens way too much. But I mean, Star Ocean's actually probably another company that's like, or it's Enix, but they're good at making good main characters. There's the hated game. It's not Till the End of Time. That's the PS2 one. Whatever the PS3, Xbox 360 one is. People don't like that main character because he goes super sappy and emo about halfway through the game.
Hmm.
But that's because people are just like, well, I don't want character development. Because they want Superman, who just has no development whatsoever, just stays linear.
Yeah, it's too hard for most of them to keep up. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And it's needed. That character development is a good thing. Even if it's not the best thing, like I was talking about with whatever her face's other character was, Carol Danvers, and her dark stuff that she went through. But
for
it's needed.
Square Enix, you've got Adam Jensen from Deus Ex.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's good as hell. I mean, like, he's another flawed character, but I think, well, it depends on how you play him. He could be a pretty big dick. But if you want to, you could have him be a pretty good guy and do good stuff too. That comes down to you. I think that's good writing then too.
Yeah. And it's just like in one of the best books ever made, Lord of the Rings, our book series, Frodo.
Yeah. I'm conflicted about Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings. I love the books. I love the movies even more. I don't care. The movies are literally on par or arguably better than the books in my opinion. But I don't like, from a writing perspective, that there is objective good and evil. Like, it's just like it's literally just black and white, good guys v bad guys. There are no gray guys. There's nothing in between. It's just like everybody's good, everybody's bad, and good and bad fight each other because good and bad are good and bad. Like, that's like, why is Sauron a bad guy? Because he's a bad guy. So
because he still wears a diaper.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just, why is he bad? Because he wants power. Why does he want power? Because he's bad. So it's like, what's he wants to control the world because his boss died, and like he thinks he's better than him. It just, that, from that standpoint, I think it's a little limited. It's still the franchise at this point literally laid the groundwork for fantasy as we know it, so that you can't argue that it's just one of the most important things ever done. But I think we've grown past that in terms of storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, there is a character in there though that I think is not just like just good, and that would be Bilbo.
Yeah,
he's kind of like good but chaotic at the same time.
He's selfish.
A wild card. Yeah. He ends up doing the right thing, but he is very self-centered. That's why I can't put him on that list.
Yeah, Frodo, I could definitely see he is the ultimate good, and it breaks him. Like,
well, I mean, Sam's the ultimate good.
Well, that's true. Yeah, no, because even Frodo says he couldn't have done it without Sam. Like, Sam is the guy. Sam is the main character of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's the hero. He's the one who saved the world.
Yeah. Oh,
with
man.
his potatoes.
I was potatoes, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. I was actually watching this thing on like the background of Lord of the Rings, and the scene for the film. The scene where Sam says, I may not be able to carry the ring, but I can carry you, and he picks up Frodo at the base of Mount Doom. Apparently, when they said cut at the end of that scene, a lot of the cast members and crew members were in tears because it was acted that well. That scene in particular hit a lot of people on set, apparently, and I totally get that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that movie was like, that movie trilogy was just shot beautifully.
Oh, God, we'll never see anything like it again.
Yep. What do you mean? We had the Bilbo series.
Dude, the Hobbit movies, there's a lot of good there. There's a lot of good there. I will say that. Anyone
there's good and evil.
Yeah, there's good and evil. I mean, but there is a lot of really good stuff with the Hobbit trilogy. I mean, hands down, like on par with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But it's like little bits in between a sea of shit.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was sad. And I was so happy to hear that Cumberbatch, whatever his name is, was going to be in it.
Yep.
And just for it to be like in a role that was overextended to make a third movie.
Yep.
It should have been like included, but much shorter altogether. Like everything should have been much shorter.
It should have been 2 movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should have been
perfect.
Yep. And you don't even have to include the battle. Like, you could have literally just done 2 movies. They get to the mountain, they kill the dragon, or well, they don't kill the dragon. Dragon gets killed by Archer guy, and then they retake the mountain, bam, story's done. That's what they should have done.
Yep. Which that's what's funny, because Lord of the Rings should have been 4 movies. Even though the extended versions are really good, they still cut out Tom Bombadil, and that makes me very upset.
Well,
one of the coolest, most OP characters in that whole universe.
Oh, he's God. He's literally God. But I don't know if you knew this, but someone asked Peter Jackson recently if they would ever release a like extended edition trilogy, because there's over, I think it's like 1,300 hours of unused footage, including Tom Bombadil. Okay.
Oh God, we need that.
And he said if the interest is there, it's definitely possible. So like I want an extended director's cut edition.
Yeah, like that we need a petition going for this, because that just Tom Bombadil, that's the only section I want. I missed that. Reading the book for the first time, I was like, this is amazing. I want to see this. And I watched the first movie and it's like, what happened?
Where'd it go?
Yeah. I want to see how they do this whole like hand thing, because all I could think of is like, it reminds me of the old Zelda games, like the NES games, where you'd have like the little hand come down, like grab you and pull you down through the ground.
Yeah. I think the concept of the character is a little too batshit insane for the general viewer to grasp. You know what I mean? Like, I think to put that, how the hell do you show that in a movie? Like, how do you even go about showing this without it just being a total CGI mess? But like, how do you show this? But also, if you can show this, most people are just going to be like, what am I watching?
That's okay. That's why you're just going to sell it like a special edition for the fans.
The fan cut special extended Uber edition of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, did you have any other characters? I was going to show this guy really quick. This is the one I was talking about from Star Ocean. The guy who they're not showing a picture of.
Yeah, of course. That's helpful. Have a whole ass article about him and no picture.
Yep.
That's
okay.
I had I was thinking about bringing up Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher. I could pull a picture up here. Let me and I have a good argument for Geralt.
Yeah, because I view him personally as mixed. Whoa, went to the Matrix.
There we go. Okay, so Geralt of Rivia, he is kind of mixed, but I think I could argue for him being a good character, and you kind of have to like understand the rules of The Witcher for the argument, which like almost everybody does at this point, because in the games it's talked about a lot. But Witchers are supposed to be totally like impartial to politics, to even crimes and stuff like that. Like Witchers are supposed to be just absolute. I'm not going to get involved. You pay me money to kill monsters, and that's all I do. But Geralt can't do that by his nature, because he is a good guy. He winds up getting involved in stuff that most Witchers just wouldn't care about, let alone get involved in, because of his moral compass, basically saying like, what I'm seeing is messed up and I need to fight it. I need to stop it. And I think that's why I could argue he's a good guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, also, I was thinking about it more. He is more like a Kiryu, too, because Kiryu did bad things, obviously. Yakuza.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Geralt's done bad things, but usually he's trying to do the right thing. Like, what he feels is the right thing.
Yep. Like, his moral compass outweighs his, like, duties as a Witcher to basically stay as impartial as possible. And he winds up... It gets him in a lot of trouble, because it's like, I see something bad, I'm going to stop it. And they really demonstrated this with the whole, there was a teaser for The Witcher 3 called Killing Monsters. And I don't know if you've seen this, but it had no monsters in the trailer. He's walking down a road, and these like soldier types are harassing a woman, implying that some terrible stuff is going to come. And him and his mentor, Vesemir, ride by at first, but then he stops, gets off, and winds up slaughtering these soldier guys. And one of them asks him, like, what are you doing? You're supposed to kill monsters. You don't fight people. And he says, I'm killing monsters, to this guy. Because they're the monsters. So that perfectly captures the whole like morality of Geralt.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and he's a good father. He tries.
He's not, but he tries.
Yeah, he tries. He's better than Goku.
Yeah.
Like he's in a very messed up situation, which is unfortunate because his job is his duty.
Yeah.
It's gray there, but overall, he's mostly a good father. He's a bad lover. I mean,
Yeah.
in some sense, he's apparently a great lover, but
depends on your definition of lover.
Yeah. Apparently in bed he's great, but as like a love interest, he's not great.
Well, part of that I think is part of it is him just being a total womanizer. Like without a doubt, he is a womanizer. But the other part of it is his amnesia, how he just doesn't. He straight up just doesn't remember anybody from his past, at least for a while. So at least in the games. But it's I think he tries to be a good father, but he is ill-equipped to be a good father. So he does what he thinks is right, even though it's probably kind of messed up.
Yeah.
It's just because he doesn't have the capacity he doesn't have the tools to do the job, but he tries anyway. And I think that's another implication of his morality.
Yep. You want to talk about someone else who's morally questionable, but is a great main character in a way? Let's talk about a movie we watched.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
I've been looking forward to this.
Yes. We've talked a lot of bad things about MCU, but we found an absolute, the world found an absolute gem thanks to Ryan Reynolds pulling the strings. Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Oh, God.
This movie, this movie's a 10 for me. Like, I absolutely love this movie. I put it off for so long, even though I shouldn't have. It is great. Like, absolutely great. There's nothing I can say that's really bad about it. Yeah. Unless you don't like language, don't like gore, then yeah, it's not for you.
Go home.
Yeah. Watch something else.
Here?
Yeah, you're in the wrong place. I mean, if you made it this far into Deadpool and you don't like language and gore, that's questionable.
Sir, this is McDonald's.
Yeah. This movie is beautiful. It's I love the fact that Ryan Reynolds pulled this together. Like, this was his passion project. You can see that there's passion to it. The two, of course, them being like good friends kind of works, but they play their characters so well and show that dynamic between them, because even in the comics, Deadpool likes Wolverine, but Wolverine doesn't really like Deadpool.
Yeah.
But Wolverine doesn't like many people.
No. Well, and as much like this is Ryan Reynolds' project, but the fact that Wolverine was in it was initiated by Hugh Jackman, apparently.
Yeah.
So they did not intend on making Deadpool and Wolverine. They intended on making just another Deadpool movie. And this was something that Ryan Reynolds wanted to do, but just didn't think it would happen because Hugh Jackman said, after Logan, I'm done. I'm done with this character. He had his close. Like, I'm never picking it up again. And rightfully so. But Hugh Jackman said in some interview that I saw that he dreamt about this, and he was like, you know what? I want to do it. And I want to do it in a way where I'm not Logan. I'm another Wolverine. And I could do it that way because I'm another Wolverine. And he called Ryan Reynolds, and they had just started the pre-production and everything on the project. And they were like, yes, let's do it. And it was a gift from God, dude. I do not like Marvel. I don't understand how anyone could have given this anything lower than a 10, though. I just don't. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that review I was reading. I read a review today, like right before I got on the show, from I can't remember what it's called, Royal Reviews or something like that. And the person went through it, and they torched the movie. They said this is the worst thing that the MCU's ever put out. It is the pinnacle of bad writing and all this other stuff, and it's just completely over the top zaniness. And it's like a little bit of zaniness, but it's Deadpool. That is the character.
Yeah. Like, this is the only time the Marvel bullshit actually works.
Yeah.
This is when it happens to work with a character that's written to be a smart ass dipshit, effectively. Like that's he's an idiot who runs his mouth but happens to be really good at killing people. And this is the only time that the Marvel stuff works.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought the merc with a mouth would be so mouthy?
Yeah. And zany.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nihilist who can't die. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
No, I think this movie is incredible.
Yeah, it's got a beautiful cast. This is one that I definitely suggest everybody watch. I guess watch the other two. They are really good too. Like all the Deadpool movies are great, but this one is just leagues better than all of them.
You don't have to watch the other two to get this one either. It's a totally self-contained story.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing you'd want to watch it for is the relationship aspect.
But that's, if you know anything about Deadpool, you've gathered that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the fan service is not too much, and it's done so well. Do not look up the cast if you somehow, for some reason, have made the mistake of not watching this movie. Don't look up anything about it, including the cast.
Normally I pull up the cast, but I'm not doing it for this one.
Do not pull the cast for this one. There are so many beautiful, beautiful things about this movie that just it's fan service done right in a way that hits the feels because it's nostalgic. And
it's not forced. It doesn't feel forced in any way.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, and it's glorious. I would give this an 11 out of 10. I think this is one of the better movies that I've seen in years, and hands down the best Marvel movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
And it's got two main characters, so it fits in perfect for this conversation.
Yep. And God, dude, the monologues. Some of the dialogue in this movie is so good.
Yep. Yep, it is great. But let's move on to our final topic, which is going to be our SCP. Which last week I did say we were doing SCP 952, which is a musical SCP, which was kinda but not related to the one we did a few weeks ago. But yeah, so we have SCP 952, which is Keter class. Description: the SCP is an anomalous subgenre of math rock known as NP rock, defined primarily as a specific arrangement of instrumental configuration, subject matter, and historic. I've heard of stoic, but not historic musical technique. Evidence suggests that the culmination of these components is the cause of SCP's anomalous properties. Upon listening to the SCP's composition, subjects will instantly identify the SCP as a distinctive musical genre. Furthermore, periodic listening defined by listening to at least one composition per day creates further anomalous effects.
The word is esoteric, by the way.
Esoteric.
Sorry, it's esoteric. I forget the definition, but it's needlessly big.
Yeah. Following 1 week of periodic listening, subjects with musical experience learn how to recreate the SCP's compositions. After 4 weeks of periodic listening, subjects with musical experience will find themselves unable to perform any musical piece outside of the SCP. From 4 weeks onward, subjects will undergo significant changes in personality. Such changes differ between subjects. However, in all cases, it's been observed that existing romantic relationships become completely untenable. They stop. From 12 weeks onward, listening to any non-SCP-952 composition produces marked distress in subjects. So this one right here, it's progressive. It just destroys relationships, and you can't get a relationship because progressive music.
Woo!
Which is sad. It's sad that it happens, that people like that just seem to put off people. I don't get it. I mean, I guess being a music nerd, it kind of happens.
Yeah.
I get that. So the containment procedures for this: musical projects under the effect of the SCP are to be terminated by any means possible, and any physical media storing records of the SCP influenced music are to be copied into standardized Type-C anti-memetic storage device and then destroyed. Venues that have hosted the SCP infected musicians are to be closed until such a point when it can be confirmed that none of the staff are infected. Development of a counter-memetic agent to combat the SCP is underway. Until its completion, all individuals affected by the SCP are to be detained. As a precaution, Foundation agents in the music industry should seek to discredit math rock as a genre until such a until such a time when the SCP is fully contained. Relevant personnel should refer to document 952-32 for more details.
So there's why this was written.
Yeah, just to bash it.
That's why this is
I missed this. The earliest known instance of the SCP appears to have been Highway Ash, which is right there by House of Spades. An album released by the band known as House of Spades in the year 20-something. As of 9/28/20-something, it's estimated that at least a number of SCP compositions remain uncontained. And then we have an interview, which we're going to split this interview up and go back and forth doing this stuff. We're both going to play women now. So interviewed is Veronica Fitzroy, and the interviewer is Agent Hay. The forward: Miss Fitzroy, who played drums for House of Spades, maintained a public presence following its breakup, the only member to do so. The Foundation contacted her for an interview under the guise that she would be speaking to a Pitchfork columnist. All right, you go first.
Good morning, Miss or
Miss.
So I never got that right. Good morning, Miss Fitzroy.
You don't know that I'm not married.
I don't care.
Please, Margaret, call me Veronica. Miss Fitzroy was a long dead historical occult figure whose last name I stole. Too wordy? Izzy was the lyricist, but nah, Veronica's good.
Very well, Veronica. Apologies. Well, to start off, I actually wanted to talk about your work in House of Spades. I've listened, and I have to say I'm impressed. It's not like anything out there, at least from the quote, or from the out there I've heard.
Huh, thank you. Yeah, that was probably some of my best work there. Got a favorite? Self-titled? Highway Ash? David Cameron effed a dead pig?
That's my favorite one. As much as I'd love to discuss how you came up with that, I have to say I'm most interested in discussing the engineering work you performed on Highway Ash.
Nerd. Yeah, no, that was a ton of fun. But I can't really be taking the credit for that. Jack was pretty much the eyes to my hands, and vice versa. Izzy helped too, and Sarah had her moments of useful idiocy. But it was mostly just the two of us. Easier that way.
Even so, it's magical. I know Spades has been pigeonholed into math rock, but it truly feels like something else.
Oh yeah, that was deliberate. Not even mad everyone ended up copying us. Starting a new genre of music's always fun, especially when I get to name it something stupid like NP rock.
It certainly is an interesting choice of name. You don't mind if I ask you why, do you?
Okay, so you know how P doesn't equal NP?
Correct. Sure, whatever.
Yeah. NP rock wasn't some spur of the moment bullshit. It took careful planning and consideration, especially on the part of me and Jack. You ever try making a sound that doesn't exist?
I'm sure everyone has at some point.
It's hard as F, yeah. Brain isn't wired to say, yeah, I was gonna say Brian isn't wired, but that doesn't make any sense. Brain isn't wired to say nonsense like cognito hazard redacted or whatever. Means that NP rock isn't easy to define, but it's easy to verify once you hear it. Moreover, it's easy to copy. I mean, that's the whole intention anyway. I wanted to shake up a genre that's been stagnant since TTNG.
Ah, well, you've certainly revolutionized.
Yeah, it was more sabotage, I'd say.
I beg your pardon?
I don't know what Jack was thinking when he first floated the idea. Probably something stupid. Weed plans tend to be stupid.
Yeah.
But again, I really only had one plan in mind. I wanted to turn the genre into a depressing sinkhole. With it, I wanted to take any joy Sarah ever had and crush it under my boots. Sarah only ever had two things: music and a flighty, hedonistic shitbag of a girlfriend. Between cutting her finger off and ruining math rock, well, one would land me in jail, and the other puts me up there with Mike Kensilia and Zach Hill. Sorta wished Izzy would have offed herself first, but I guess watching her become brain gash
Brian Gash? Man,
is as good a consolation prize as any. Let's read what this is really quick. The significance of this statement is unknown. Okay.
Right. Forgive me. That's an awful thing to say about someone. Moreover, I'm not certain what this has to do with Sarah's relationships.
Sis, you can't be giving scores to a genre you don't get. The whole effing genre is a testament to the inability of hipster nerds to hold down a date. Just listen to Wayne Slutsky or Polvo or TTNG or whatever that is. And even the Cancilla singing on whatever shower that stupid house probably never had. Surround yourself in misery, and that's what you get. Even better when your misery's syncopated. What the heck does that mean? To the beat of a soul.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I apologize, but the beat of a soul feels somewhat loaded. Care to unpack what you mean?
Sure. First question from me, though. Do you people always play dumb?
Excuse me?
It's a serious question. Every soul operates on a similar frequency. The key's reaching out on what that frequency is. And right now, you're blaring out narc cycles per second.
Listen, I'm not sure what you...
You somehow know jack shit about NP rock despite listening to it. Agreed with my statement about P and NP despite no public proof. What does that mean? Agent Hay later clarified that she had no knowledge of P versus NP. Okay. Just clarifying the fact that what was said was said. And most importantly, Pitchfork hasn't given a shit about me since they gave me a solo album, or gave my solo album a 2.6. You're either a government occult coalition G-man, in which case, holy F, you're bad at this, or you're one of Brian Gash's girls, which is effing rich considering that killed me. Considering that killed me won't bring back Sarah. And
killing me.
Oh, that killing. Huh? Yeah, I have to read the whole word, don't I? That killing me won't bring back Sarah. And I know because Ashy's still dead.
Ma'am, are you okay?
Is that what this is about? Are you just checking up on me? Well, tell Izzy she won. She effing won. After all these years, I'm a miserable something hag who threw away her shot at a happy life for the sake of petty revenge. But guess what? Sarah's still dead, and Izzy will never tune a bass outside of Redacted again. How's that? A loud crash can be heard, which Hay reports is from Fitzroy flinging a vase of the wall, which I'm not going to do because I don't have a vase. My manifesto's in my bedroom and my will's on the kitchen counter. It's been a pleasure, man. Redacted.
End log.
Yes. Immediately following the conclusion of the interview, Fitzroy pulled a revolver from under her cushion and shot herself through the temple. As of whatever, 20 whatever, Miss Fitzroy's will has been declassified.
Oh, nice.
We have the will. Okay. Let's see what happened. So I, Veronica Catherine Fitzroy, being of sound body and sound enough mind to execute my own damn will, as witnessed by Brad Cameron. Isn't that who did it with the dead pig?
I think so.
And the man in the bandages, both of whom can deal with the legal bullshit later, declare the division of my estate as follows. To Jack of Spades, who knows who he is, and to Madame Brian Gash, who also knows who she is, I bequeath the soul of Sarah, whatever her whole name was. Have fun fighting that out, you bottom-feeding parasites. Also to the Jack of Spades, who once again knows who he is, I bequeath ownership of my share of House of Spades royalties for all the associated albums and EPs except self-titled, which was hack guitar work for you, and you absolutely know it. Consider it a thanks for helping me program the logistics of Highway Ash, knowing full well you never get your disgusting squid dick wet again. To Anna, I bequeath a copy of Confronting Drunk Driving by H. Lawrence Ross. If you're anything like your sister, I'd read it page to page. To the goddess of cider. To the goddess of cider, who holds my, I thought I was going to say cinder, who holds my beloved Ashy. I bequeath my soul, knowing full well I won't make it to the journey. And finally, to Brad Cameron, I bequeath everything else. You truly were the best among us, and I'm sorry for booting you from engineering for the sake of a 3-year suicide. Okay. And then we got to find out who they are. So Jack Spade was the guitarist, which they explained that. Izzy was the bassist, which we knew that. Sarah killed herself, which we knew that.
Yum.
And we have no clue who the bandage guy is.
Me. It was me.
Yeah.
I was there.
Oh, we don't know who Brad is, but we know he did something with the pig. I think that was his name, wasn't it? Or was it Dave Cameron? Oh, David Cameron. So it was probably his dad or something. Or his brother. Somehow related to Brad. But yeah, so don't listen to math rock. That's what I get from this. That's pretty much all I can take away from it. Math rock bad. But let's see. Let me see what we're going to look at next week. SCP.
I just dropped out for a second.
Oh, nice. Next week, we are going to look at another 952. Yeah, because there's two SCP-952s. This one is Jack of Hearts.
Oh?
Yeah.
It's not like a -1 or...
Nope.
Huh.
Nope, that's why I found it so interesting. It's a Jack of Hearts, which is funny because we have Jack of Spades in this one. So, yeah. It's going to be fun.
I wonder how they're going to pull that off.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the first time I've heard that you can have two of the same number.
Maybe it's like parallel universes or something, or
could be.
It'll be interesting. We'll figure that out.
Yep, it'll be a thing. It'll be a thing for next week. But yeah, that is all we had. I did want to say really quick before we get off is we finally hit 100 subscribers, and that is very awesome. So thank you to everyone.
Yeah,
that was epic. We're gonna keep putting out more content every Monday, Thursday. We're going to be doing some shorts, more shorts than we have recently. We kind of gave up on that. I'm also eventually going to get back on doing the social media aspect because I see we're getting a lot of people going to the pages, but I'm not putting anything up because I'm lazy. So they're not seeing anything recent. Because I think my last one I put up on Facebook was my Skies of Arcadia video.
Oh,
that was a while ago. Yeah, so we're going to get more stuff. We're going to be more active. And thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. If you haven't yet, please do so. And until next time. You take care.
Stay safe. Boogity boogity boo.